There is something God has been trying to tell you, something important, something that could change the entire direction of your life, but you have not heard it yet. Not because he stopped speaking, but because you never stopped talking, never stopped scrolling, never stopped filling every quiet moment with noise. Most Christians spend their entire lives asking God for answers, and God spends those same years trying to give them. The problem is not that heaven is silent. The problem is that we are not. Today, I want to show you 5 things God only reveals in silence, things that most Christians never receive. Not because they are not chosen, but because they never became still enough to hear. Psalm 46:10 says this, "Be still and know that I am God." Notice what comes first, stillness, before knowledge, before revelation, before direction. God requires stillness, and in a world designed to keep you constantly distracted, that stillness has become the rarest thing on earth. The first thing God reveals in silence is who you actually are, not the version the world built, not the version your failures defined, not the version your family expected, the real one, the one he designed before you were born. I remember a season in my life when I could not sit still for even 5 minutes without reaching for my phone. I was not even looking for anything specific. I just could not stand the quiet. Looking back now, I understand why, because in the quiet, I would have had to face the truth about who I was becoming, and I was not ready for that confrontation. One evening, the power went out. No phone, no music, just darkness and silence. And in that silence, something broke open in me, not in a dramatic way, quietly, the way light comes through a crack. I heard something I can only describe as a thought that was not mine. It said, "You have been running from yourself for years." It was true, and I had never heard it before because I had never been still enough to listen. Jeremiah 1:5 says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you." God already knows exactly who you are, but you will never discover that identity in the noise. It only comes in silence. The second thing God reveals in silence is the lies you have accepted as truth. This is the one most people are afraid of because once you hear the lie clearly, you can no longer pretend it is not there. A young woman I know had spent years believing she was not enough, not smart enough, not spiritual enough, not worthy of the dreams she carried. She had heard it so many times from so many people in so many forms that she had stopped questioning it. It just became part of how she saw herself. She started a practice of sitting in silence for 15 minutes each morning. No worship music, no podcast, no prayer list, just stillness. Within 2 weeks, she told me something shifted. She said it was like God was playing back the recordings, showing her where the lies entered, who said them, when she believed them. And beneath every lie, he was showing her the truth he had spoken over her long before anyone else had a chance to speak. Romans 12:2 says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." That renewal does not happen in noise. It happens when you are still enough for God to begin the excavation. The third thing God reveals in silence is your next step, not your 5-year plan. Just the next step. And I want to be honest with you here because I know what most of us want. We want the full blueprint, the complete map. Every turn labeled and guaranteed. We want God to explain the destination before we agree to move. But that is not how he works. I once prayed for 3 weeks straight about a major decision I was facing. I listed every option. I analyzed every outcome. I brought arguments to God like I was presenting a court case, and nothing came. No clear answer, no divine confirmation, nothing. One morning I finally stopped arguing. I sat down. I closed my eyes. I did not say a single word. And in that silence, with no noise and no agenda, a thought rose up so simply it almost felt ordinary. Take the step that requires the most faith. That was it. No details, no guarantee, just one step. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight. He will make the path straight, but you have to be still enough first to receive which direction to begin walking. The fourth thing God reveals in silence is discernment about the people around you. Silence strips away performance. When everything goes quiet, you begin to notice what certain relationships actually feel like beneath the surface. Which friendships leave you lighter, which ones leave you hollow, which voices in your life carry peace, and which ones carry something else entirely. A brother in faith once told me that the most revealing thing he ever did was spend one full day in silence. No conversations, no social media, no input from anyone. And by evening, he said he had more clarity about the relationships in his life than he had gained in an entire year of talking. He realized that one person he called a close friend left a residue of anxiety on him every single time they parted. He had never noticed it before because he was always moving too fast to feel it. Proverbs 4:23 says, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." You cannot guard what you cannot feel, and you cannot feel clearly when you are never still. The fifth thing God reveals in silence is himself. Not information about him, not facts about him, him. There is a difference between knowing about someone and knowing them. Most Christians know a great deal about God. They know the verses, they know the theology, they know the stories. But intimacy is different. Intimacy requires presence, and presence requires stillness. 1 Kings 19:11-12 describes this with devastating clarity. The prophet Elijah was exhausted, broken, and hiding in a cave. God sent a great wind, then an earthquake, then fire, but the text says God was not in any of those things. After the fire came a still small voice, a gentle whisper. And that is where God was. He is still speaking in that same whisper today, but you will never hear a whisper in a hurricane. You have to become quiet enough for a whisper to reach you. God is not withholding from you. He is waiting for you to become still. 5 minutes of genuine silence before God is worth more than 5 hours of religious noise. Not because effort does not matter, but because intimacy cannot be rushed. It cannot be scheduled between notifications. It has to be chosen deliberately, daily. If this message has stirred something in you, I want you to do one thing today. Find 10 minutes. No phone, no music, no agenda, just stillness. And let God begin to speak. Write in the comments, "Lord, I am listening." That act alone is a declaration of faith, and God honors every heart that turns to hear him. Do not forget to subscribe so we can keep going deeper together. God bless you, my brother, my sister. Until next time. Until next.